When Toy Story first came out in 1995, well, not only was Disney kind of afraid to own it, they didn't put their name on it till I think the second or third week of release when it started making bank. It was just a Pixar movie at the time, even though Disney co-funded it. But it did take off. It took off on the box office, it took off for Pixar and Disney, and, well, for kids and collectors, it became sort of a momentous toy movie. We don't get that many movies made a bit about toys. I mean, Small Soldiers, Babes in Toyland, Star Wars. But outside of that, yeah, and Buzz Lightyear was absolutely the breakout character. He had everything a kid like Andy or a kid like Scott could want in an action figure. He glowed in the dark, he had a karate chop arm, he had lasers. He was not a flying toy. And, well, despite how cool he was, retailers were, to say, a little shy on this. In fact, a lot of them just outrightly said, no thanks, not interested in Buzz Lightyear. It was the first time a CGI animated movie, full-length movie had come out, and there was a lot of hesitation if this was going to work. There was even a joke about it in Toy Story 2, where Barbie, giving her tour guide ride through the toy store, talks about short-sighted retailers not ordering enough Buzz Lightyears back in the day. Now, one company did believe in it from the get-go, if you will, and they created this, the ultimate talking Buzz Lightyear action figure. Now, if you haven't heard of Thinkway toys, or hadn't before this, it may not be surprising. They are from Canada, after all.
No, it's not evil spirits. It's just rain. Rain. Fine. Try and kill it. Children.
Hey, but that's no reason to doubt their ability to produce quality playthings, and they did. The fact that they stepped up and were willing to produce Toy Story figures from day one, well, let's just say John Lasseter never forgot that. And because of that, Thinkway locked themselves in with Pixar as a longtime toy partner and were able to produce the only 1-to-1 ratio characters for the original Toy Story movie, meaning figurines or action figures that were built to be the exact size the characters were in the movie. There were other companies that came along and got different rights to different scales, but their ultimate Buzz Lightyear was almost pretty much a perfect toy. It got reissued year after year, slightly upgraded packaging, but they didn't have to make any changes to the toy. It was perfect. The other Buzz Lightyears out there, which from other companies, were, more action figure-like, but they weren't in scale. They weren't, as big as Buzz was in the real world, if you will. And Thinkway was able to follow this up with a whole line of product that was as if you just picked them up right from Andy's room. They weren't action figures, they weren't minis, and they more or less did everything that they did in the movie. And as I said, because of this early partnership, well, John Lasseter allowed Thinkway to have first pass at every single Pixar movie and have first rights at sort of the larger 1-to-1 and electronic items. So this was a fantastic gamble on Thinkway's part because everyone else had to work around the slice of pie that was already carved out. It was kind of like a pre-sliced up pie. All right, fast forwarding today, and obviously Toy Story has become an evergreen brand at retail and in the hearts and minds of kids just like you and me, well, maybe more like you than me. And Buzz Lightyear, one could say, is bigger than ever. In fact, he had his very own movie this last summer, even though there were some changes, and obviously there were some issues with the plot points and all of that, but he did get a robotic cat, and you cannot underestimate that. All right, so the voice actor changed as well. There were a whole bunch of issues. We don't need to get into that. I made a whole video about this. But the point is, the character still commands presence at retail, and Mattel has stepped up to continue to produce a whole bunch of Toy Story and Lightyear products, with Thinkway again continuing to hold that slice that they already pre-selected out of the pie. Now, Mattel's counter to Thinkway's toy is this guy, their Action Chop Buzz Lightyear. It's the closest item they have at retail right now to a 1-to-1 Buzz, but it's not really that. I mean, he does have chopping action when you press the little button in the back, just like in the movie. There's a scene where Woody starts hitting Buzz's panel to chop at the alien. So yes, I mean, he does actually have karate chop action in the film, and it's accurate. But all the other features, the lights, the sounds, the wings popping out, all of that, gone. And this toy is kind of the signature high-end Buzz Lightyear to buy right now. It does have 30 sounds, but they all come from the same buttons. So I was over at, I think I was at Walmart here, and, started fiddling with one. And I'm just like, wow, none of these buttons work. They're just, there. And yeah, okay, the helmet goes down and up, but I guess not the package. And we've got that karate chop arm. But, where's the laser light? Where's the flip open, controller? Sure, you can go on the back here and, press that button and we get sound effects and hee-yaw and all that. But man, this is not the Buzz Lightyear we had in 1995. Get back on the shelf there. Stand up, Buzz. There you go. Yay, Buzz. All right. So not only are you getting less features, but look at the size difference. I mean, it's significantly cost reduced and, well, size reduced from the original, and it's $10 more. The original one was $20 back in 1995, which I know, inflation and all that. This new one is $35. So you're basically back in 1995 for less money, you got way more value. And that's really at the heart of what I want to talk about in this video is the fact that costs to do things like feeding goats, for example, have skyrocketed. And that's why the value in toys seems to be dropping because it costs more to produce them. So now we're charging more, but they do less. And that's kind of a reason to not get a toy, or in this case, a goat. Because when a toy isn't going to have what's thought of or referred to in the industry as play value because of cost reduction, that's where you get to be a big problem. And cost reduction was a huge part of day by day when I worked in the toy industry. Well, I still work in the toy industry. I just don't work for a toy company. I work for myself as a consultant, but that's not important right now. The point is, when I was at Mattel or Jada or Jax, we were constantly having to cost reduce toys, come up with a less expensive way of producing them in order to hit the margin requirements. Now, what we would always be told, though, is don't cross the streams, don't cost out the play. That was always the edict we were getting from management, because you do need to cost reduce toys, remove deco, remove accessories, but what you don't want to do is cost reduce the fun. This is what would always be talked about. A good example of this is Meccano. When you open up one of these sets, there's a giant warning sheet right inside that says, do not return this toy. Try putting it together first. We know it's really difficult, but yeah, there you go. You have a toy that's so difficult to play with that they have to have a warning to tell you not to return it. So while all toy companies, while all manufacturers struggle with time, money, quality, wanting to offer it all, and we know that you can't offer it all unless, of course, you're Spider-Man, and with kids going more and more to alternate ways of using their time, using screens and, buying even digital toys that aren't even physical anymore, this is becoming more and more of a thing. We're taking away from children that nutritious, tactile value that toys have, when a toy has a lot of play value and likewise a lot of fun. It's very important for children's brains as they mature. So, there's still always things like Lego that are kind of never going to go away, but they're also highly increasing in cost. So really what parents look at when they buy a toy is, how long is a child going to use this before they just, throw it in the closet or, gosh forbid, the trash? We'll always have collectors, which are like shooting monkeys in a barrel, or what do you shoot monkeys in? In a balloon? You shoot monkeys in a balloon, fish are in a barrel. Well, it's kids that are the golden goose for all toys. If you don't have kids playing with them, it's hard to make the number of turns or velocity you have to do at retail to sell enough units without kid and parent interest. Which is why keeping the value in toys and not cost reducing it out is so important, but it's also become such a huge challenge with the rising cost of labor and materials. So what is the solution to this? Well, one possibility, and to think outside the box, is really that less is more concept. There's a lot of toys out there, especially toys from the 60s, 70s, and 80s that have so much play value, and they're easily obtained and inexpensively obtained on eBay. Now, I know there's a lot of questions about buying used toys and, especially in this post-COVID germ-infested world, et cetera, but, things can be cleaned. The point being is, there's a lot of toys out there, like Buzz Lightyear from 1995, that has way more price value, and honestly could probably be picked up cheaper today than even the current Buzz Lightyear. It's got better value, better quality, and with eBay and secondary markets, it's not that hard to track down. This might be the answer for parents, is looking at toys from 20 years ago, before prices went up. You were getting a lot more value back then because you could. Let me know what you think. Do you struggle with this in your own collection or with your own kids, the value price of the items you're getting? Do they have enough play value? Love to know what you think in the comments below. Share this video. It's the best way to support this channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.